Um, Following up on the question earlier about whether you have a permit exempt well or not, key point in all of this is if you're served, if your home is served by a city or a water association, you don't need to claim your water use. The city or the water association, they hold the water right. They're the ones filing claims, presumably, on that water use. So if you were a customer of a water association or a city, then you don't need to claim your indoor water use, right? If you aren't served by association or a city, you probably have a permanent exempt well and will need to claim that water use. Okay. Here we are. So as Dylan mentioned, I was just going to talk through for a few minutes about some of the resources that are available to all of you on preparing for this adjudication. A lot of this information is how you can prepare for filing your court claim forms, and then also resources that are available for that evidence gathering phase, which is kind of the next stage of the adjudication, as Gavin mentioned. So there's, I think, 3 primary sources of information for adjudication resources. There's the Ag Water Board website, there's Whatcom County, and then also the Department of Ecology. So I'll go through kind of what's available at each of those. So the first being the Ag Water Board website. So if you just go to www.agwaterboard.com, this will come up, and right below the top banner is this link to water rights resources. So if you click on that, there will be this menu that comes up that has some information available. The first one I wanted to draw your attention to is the Ag Water Board hosts office hours, where staff from AESI are available at the Ag Water Board's offices for half-hour appointments to talk through the details of your water rights situation. Obviously, these are hosted by the Ag Water Board. They're really geared towards farmers and irrigation water rights and providing support for those, but they're open to anybody. We had a session earlier this week, last week, and then there's another session on March 24th. There's a link, the top link there under site navigation to book an informational session. As I checked earlier this evening, there was 2 slots available on March 21st. They may not be anymore, but if you would want to book one of those sessions, go ahead and do so. There are also, one of the things that the Ag Water Board did about 2 years ago now is they filed a public information request to Ecology for all WID members. So if you own property and pay into one of the WIDs, the Ag Water Board filed a public information request to Ecology to get all water right documents related to that parcel sent to the Ag Water Board. And we're gathering those documents as they come in with the intent of preparing a water right information portal. As I mentioned, this public information request was filed almost 2 years ago, and Ecology has yet to fully complete that public information request. So we have a lot of information compiled, but it's not complete yet, unfortunately, and so it's not ready to publish, but when it is, it'll be up there and available. A couple other things that are available on the website is there's an irrigation water use calculator. So you can plug in crop type, irrigation method, and acres, and it will estimate an annual irrigation use that would be reasonable to support that crop. So if you're needing to estimate crop irrigation, you can do it that way. One other thing that the Ag Water Board hired AESI to do is to compile historical air photos of all of the WID areas. So dating back to 1933, there are historical air photos available for the county. They're not all countywide. 1933 and 1938 are air photos taken by the University of Washington that are really focused on the river corridor. But starting in 1943, the Conservation District has compiled historical air photos almost county-wide. And so for the WID areas, we've compiled and geo-referenced those photos into a tool that you can use to click through and see kind of the aerial history of the property you own. Really useful for understanding the history of agriculture that your property may have undergone since, like I say, the early mid-1940s up till, I think the most current photos are 2024. One of the things that Gavin mentioned in his talk for evidence is affidavits. So affidavits are really powerful evidence of historical water use. So there's a template and kind of a guideline for information that you can gather from, you know, old family members or previous landowners if you're uncertain of the water use history of your property. Getting that information documented now, as we said, the adjudication will take 30 or 40 years or more, and documenting kind of historical first-hand accounts of water use through a signed and notarized affidavit is really powerful evidence of historical water use. So there's a template to use there. There's also a list of water rights attorneys and water rights consultants that you might contact if you have additional questions. So next up, Whatcom County has a lot of great resources on their website, general information, some resource maps. As Perry mentioned, there's a water use calculator there. There's an irrigation one that's very similar to the one that is on the Ag Water Board website, but there's a residential water use calculator that is pretty detailed, and you know, I've played around with it, and I think it's quite good at estimating water use. It factors in, you know, all kinds of different water use examples that you can use to estimate your indoor water use. They have links to kind of upcoming events that they're going to be hosting and links to past events and presentations so you can see what's going on there. And then there's cross links to the Ag Water Board, the Whatcom County, to Ecology, and then also links to the court. Oh, button. There we go. So Whatcom County is hosting some events coming up with Geosyntec Consultants, who's their consultant. They've got a booth over here. They're great to talk to. So there is a pop-up event tomorrow, right? So if you haven't had enough of adjudication talk tonight, you can go for a second session tomorrow at the Linden Library, 1:30 to 4. Like I said, no registration required. Pop-up event, probably similar interaction as the table they have this evening. And then they also have upcoming workshops, which I think are a little more detailed and personalized and one-on-one discussions with folks. And so coming up Tuesday, March 3rd at the Rome Grange, and then Thursday, March 12th at a location to be determined in Everson. And then as I understand it, there's additional sessions in planning in April as well. So you can keep an eye out for those. Okay, and then Ecology, as Perry mentioned, you know, you can contact Ecology to get some questions answered and help on filling out forms. So their website is great for kind of general information. They also have a link you can go to, you can sign up for a one-on-one appointment, talk through you know, what you need to do to file your form. Those one-on-one appointments are available in their Bellingham field office. So you can go to their website, you know, book one of those appointments. And then they have upcoming events you can see here spread throughout the county as well that you can register for and attend. And then the last thing I'll mention here is through Ecology is they have this water resources web map. And, you know, there's an example of kind of what it looks like. There's a lot of different colors here, but you can, you know, write down the link or just Google, you know, Ecology Water Resources web map. And it's fairly intuitive to navigate through the map, and you can zoom in on your area. And this is an interactive map where it displays, water rights. So this doesn't have anything to do with permit exempt wells. These are water rights, permits, certificates, claims that might be pertinent to the property that they're mapped to. So you can maybe see in the legend here, water rights certificates are mapped in green. And so you can find your parcel, you can zoom in, you can click on it. It'll bring up a link where you can download your water right documents and start gathering the information needed as far as quantities and place of use and all the attributes on the water rights documents that will be helpful in filling out your court claim forms, and then be part of the evidence package that you'll be submitting later on. So that's a quick run through the resources that are available. Say Ag Water Board, Whatcom County Ecology, all offering various levels of assistance. And I just encourage you, as you've heard several times, file your claim forms. It's worth the effort, because without it, you may not have legal access to water in the future. So I encourage you to do so and plan like it's going to be due on May 1st of this year.